Good morning, Algebra. Okay, we are going to take quadratic formula a step further today. First, of course, we need to sing. We all need to sing together. So, right, get your singing voices together. Okay, oh, okay, you could do it, right? Invite all of your family in to hear you sing to them all day long the quadratic formula song. Okay, so here we go. And Will, if you've learned this, then we of course need to get online with you and sing it together. All right, so the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. One more time. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, good. Learn it, memorize it, know it forever. All right, it's useful in math class. And really, that's really it. Unless you become a math teacher and then you get to be like me and you get to sing it every year. It's so exciting. Okay, let's take a look at a problem. Now, what I made a little different about today's problems is that the number under the radical ends up being negative. So let's just learn something from Algebra 2. What happens if I have the square root of a negative number? Well, let's find out. So I took this equation, x squared minus 2x plus 20 equals 0, all right, and I plugged it in. So a here equals 1, b is negative 2, c is 20. I plugged this into x equals, and I put in negative b, so 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is negative 2 squared. My goodness, I didn't even do this right. So let's see. That would be negative 2 squared in parentheses. Catching my mistakes as I touch and say my work. So negative 2 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times 20, which is c, all over 2 times a. Okay, so I plugged it in. And then I often go off to the side of my paper. And if you looked yesterday, you'll see where I went off to the side to do some, do my radicals on the side and see what happens under there. So I took this over here. This becomes 4 minus 80. All right, 4 minus 80, which is negative 76. So the square root of negative 76. Well, what we've maybe talked about before and what you need to know for this is that the square root of negative 1, the square root of negative 1 equals I, the imaginary number. There is no such thing as the square root of negative 1, but mathematicians along the way decided it was useful to name it something, so they named it little cursive I for imaginary. And it literally is, it's an imaginary number, not real, okay? So I split up my square root, my radical, into 3 this time. So I saw that 76 is divisible by 4, which is a perfect square, so I pulled that out front. So 4 times negative 1 times 19 equals negative 76. So this is what I'm thinking. 4 times negative 1 times 19 is negative 76. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of negative 1 is I, little I. Okay, see my cute little I there? Times the square root of 19. So if I were doing this, the square root of negative 1, I would just literally write I, right? The square root of negative 1 equals I. All right. So now that I've got this, 2I root 19 is how I would say it. I need some space here, so I'm going to actually erase this. And let's see. So I'm going to bring this one over here. I'm going to say x equals 2 plus or minus 2I root 19 all over 2. But what did you see? So yesterday's assignment, I asked you to reduce this fraction too. And what we find out is that we need to reduce by factoring out a common factor in the numerator. So x here equals 2 times 1 plus or minus I root 19 all over 2. Okay, so those 2's cancel each other. Right? Again, I'm running out of room. So on my next line, I would write this. X equals 1 plus or minus I root 19 because those 2's canceled, right? So you can think about this as reducing this 2 with this number on the left and with this number on the right. So I could do this as long as I know that I'm reducing it with every term in the numerator. Okay, so x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then we've got this, what if there's a negative under the radical? Pull out a little I. So simplify it in the same way, but with a little I in there. And notice that I put my coefficient first, then the I, then the radical, if there is one. Okay? All right. Good luck, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.